So with this new streaming space, we're slowly discovering new fun things, like the fact that we now have 4 dogs next door that are constantly barking, so...
When you hear them, we apologize. If I try to edit it out and it sounds terrible, I apologize. And if I don't edit it out and you close the video, I'm gonna cry in my room tonight.
Hi everyone, welcome to GameGorgon. My name's Indigo.
And I'm Krug.
Today we're here to talk to you about exploration, the other thing that you don't really do a lot because you focus on combat.
Wow. Calling out the audience builds. That's messed up.
Do you know what that is? Shots fired.
If you're not aware, exploration is a game mode in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. We've already talked about one of the other game modes, which is downtime. If you want to check that video out, do it. There's a link somewhere. Go have fun finding it. I'm bad at predicting what I'm going to do in the future.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be here.
I can't make links do that. The last remaining game mode that we have yet to talk about is basically combat. I mean, we've technically talked about it a lot.
Yes.
But we will also do this specific thing.
We have talked about it tangentially, since we've explained
mechanics.
How to do things in combat. It
Yeah.
kind of explains how combat works.
Yeah. So one of the key differentiators that we talked about last time is in different game modes, time passes in different chunks.
Yeah. For example, time and downtime is days, if not weeks, if not months.
Yeah, exactly. This is hours, if not days.
Okay.
Right? So this is like the intermediate increment of time. You're not rolling every action that you take. You're maybe rolling, oh, I want to behave in this fashion over the next period of time. And that's kind of the unit of skill check you're making. Now, another differentiator is like the atmosphere, the environment that you're in. So downtime is like danger-free.
Okay.
You're in town or like somewhere where you're just chilling and like going about your daily life. Exploration is neither like actually threatening to your life, nor is it completely relaxed. Like you are challenged, you were in some sort of difficult situation, but you're not fighting for your life. Like talking to somebody and trying to get information out of them, or negotiating with a vendor, or any number of things where there's somebody working against you, but they're not necessarily trying to kill you. Yet. They could potentially try to kill you in the course of, for example, your negotiation, but that will move you into combat, right?
Sure.
So you're no longer in exploration mode, and the amount of time that you're using shifts. And then the last like key differentiator here is movement, right?
Sure.
So you're not doing combat, you know, I'm going to move 30 feet because that's my speed, and I'm going to like, I have 3 actions that I can use. And you're not doing downtime where it's just like, I'm going to this location and it doesn't matter. You do have a speed, and it is calculated off of your like combat speed, I want to call it. There's actually a table on page 479. I know you guys love tables that do math about travel. That's like the best of everything in the whole game. It gives you the travel speed based off of your like combat speed.
It's a necessary chart if you're going to be using exploration within your table, which I actually do encourage people to use exploration, but just understand that read off of your table. Figure out what your table is interested in.
Right.
Because the thing is that while exploration can be a fun interaction, if you do it too much or if it's not right for the table, aka...
if there's a lot of travel and like, you know, mysterious clues that they like pick up on very subtly, but the group just wants to get into fights, like, well, then they're going to be bored.
Exactly.
Regardless of how nifty your clues are. You put on the little spreadsheet that we made of GameGorgon ideas how to make exploration less boring.
Sure.
Cool.
It's hard.
It's going to be an interesting video. Let's talk about the actions you could do during exploration. There are a bunch of them.
Okay.
I will have you know, just because I don't want to say it over and over again, every single one of these, except for hustle, requires you to move at half your speed. That's... no.
Don't worry, I'm humming copywritten music in my head so that you don't have to edit it out.
We should thank. I appreciate that. Thanks.
First one is going to be avoid notice, which is, guess what? Making checks to try and stealth, basically, from point A to point B.
Yep. There are some interactions between this and some other things in the book. Like if you have legendary sneak, you can do this at full speed instead of half speed and use another exploration action at the same time. This is also a super good example of a situation where you would use a different skill as initiative relative to what you would normally do, which is perception, right? If you're using avoid notice and you find an enemy group and they haven't noticed you yet, you're rolling stealth for initiative, not perception. They're rolling perception for initiative to find you.
So if your group has a high stealth, then this is good. But most parties are balanced pretty well, and so you've got someone that's going.
Well, yeah, and that's why it would be a separate skill check for the initiative. Relative to like, we got up to the point where we can engage them stealthily as a group. Now for the initiative, we're rolling stealth. Next up is defend. This is basically traveling with your shield out. Okay, first of all, you're moving at half speed because you have your shield out. Does that seem like... I mean, I also guess there is an element of being like on combat alertness mode. Like it's not just you are walking like this.
This is how I imagine it. Okay,
yeah.
So if you're going, imagine you're in your car, because we don't really ride on horse and buggies very often, right? And we're in an area where we know that there's speed traps.
Yeah.
Right? We're probably rolling in slow because we're trying to keep an eye out for whatever may ambush us. That's better for you than rushing through it and getting attacked.
The thing I don't understand that I can't like rectify in my head is having that make you as slow as sneaking. All things being equal, right? Like your proficiencies in both of those things being similar. I cannot fathom...
Hear me out.
Yes.
I think they do that because they understand that it's best that you go slower, but it would be too annoying and complicated to have full 3/4, half, and a quarter speed.
Probably, yeah. I mean, fair. That's a fair reason.
Yeah, I mean, purely assuming this, like if someone from Paizo wants to comment down below, like, yep, that's right. Like,
if somebody from Paizo ever wants to comment anything, knock yourself out.
Well, I mean, they comment all the time.
Yeah.
They say thank you.
But like,
thank you.
Like, correct us. That would be great, actually.
Yeah, right?
Every single time we do a video, there's like a big paragraph of Paizo being like, actually, bitches. Next, we're talking about detect magic. I am confused by this. Maybe you can help me clear it up.
Okay.
With detect magic, you're basically continuously casting detect magic as you travel. That is going to allow you to have the benefits of detect magic, but there is like an explanation of its efficacy in the skill that is confusing to me. I'm going to read it.
Okay.
You have no chance of accidentally overlooking a magic aura at a travel speed up to 300 feet per minute, but must be traveling no more than 150 feet per minute to detect magic auras before the party moves into them. So in that case, what does overlooking mean at 300 feet? I don't understand that part.
So I believe the idea behind it is if you're traveling up to 300 feet, you will detect it, but you might detect it while you're in it. Versus the other one, you will detect it before you are within the...
And if you were over 300 feet, you might pass all the way through it without ever detecting it. Because these aren't necessarily dangerous things. See, that was the thing in my head. How would you miss it completely if it hurts you? But that's not necessarily what we're talking about.
Go back to what we were saying about the ruins. There's ruins on the side of the road. You're traveling, and oh crap! There's ruins. There's something magical. We should stop right where we're at and explore.
As opposed to with 150 feet, you'd be like, that was my backpack.
That actually scared me.
It scared me because I know there's 2 laptops in there. Whereas with 150 feet, you get to the edge of the sphere of influence of that magical aura, and you say, hey guys, we are entering the sphere of influence of this magical thing. Like, I can take a step back, and now I don't sense it, and I take a step forward, and now I do. So you may not have to backtrack, right? Whereas if you are 2/3 of the way through it, you might have to go back a little bit to get to the thing that is creating. I get it. Thank you. You are correct. I agree. Next, we're going to talk about follow the expert. This is something that I feel like has not been in a lot of RPGs, and makes sense to exist, and now I am reading it and it makes me happy.
Okay, I like the name.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see where it's going?
I mean, it makes me think of a follow quest. You have to follow someone around.
It kind of is.
Okay, all right, let's hear it out.
So this is basically the skill that you use when someone in your party is expert or better in a skill relating to an exploration activity.
So maybe like someone that's an expert in survival and they can track people.
Yeah, or stealth.
Okay.
I think this is where this is going to be used primarily.
Okay.
Right? Your character is obviously like less trained in this, right?
Than whoever we're following.
Yeah, exactly. So you as the less trained character are basically watching the more experienced character do the thing and then trying to just like do exactly what they do. You're not like thinking about, where's the like quietest place for me to step? You're just, he stepped there, I'm going to step there. That's all you're doing.
Okay.
So because you're basically being guided through the process of accomplishing this task successfully, you're going to get a bonus to completing that task.
I see why you're saying stealth.
Yeah. There's 2 bonuses that you get, actually.
Okay.
If you were untrained in the thing that you were trying to accomplish, you can just add your level.
Oh, okay.
Flat, like,
that's nice.
as though you were trained, even if you're untrained. Now, you on top of that, based off of your allies' training, you're going to get a scaling bonus. +2 for expert, +3 for master, +4 for legendary. Which isn't like anything to scoff at, especially because of the untrained thing. Like, maybe this isn't as good if you're a rogue and you're fucking trained at everything and, okay, I'll get a +2, whoop-de-doo.
At the end of the day, a +2 is a +2 for not like focusing on that. Like it's someone else's focus and you're assisting with that. Especially as a fighter or someone that's getting armor penalties, that could be the equivalent of getting rid of the penalties that they have from wearing armor.
Exactly.
So I think that these are, while they seem small, are still very viable.
Yeah, they're very reasonable bonuses. I think this is really good. I also really like the just kind of like roleplay idea behind it, where it's like, oh, you know what you're doing when it comes to sneaky peeky. We're gonna just follow you. Like, you do the thing, and it lends itself to the group play very well, I think.
No, I'm with you. Next, we're gonna be talking about Hustle, that song I'm not going to be humming out loud.
Thank you.
You move twice your speed, and you can do this for as long as your con mod times 10 minutes with a minimum of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So that means if you have a negative con mod, you're still able to move twice your speed for 10 minutes. Think about it in real life. When was the last time you ran for 10 minutes?
Have you seen me? Next up, we have Investigate. This is basically going to allow you to use any recall knowledge while you are traveling in order to gain insight into your surroundings. Now, your surroundings are going to be different. You could be like underground in a dwarven city or up in the trees of an elven village. All those places are valid, but the skills for those things might be different. Like, maybe survival will work in both, but maybe there's like, oh, you have stone cutting lore or stonemason lore, and that'll be way more useful in the dwarven tunnels than it will be in the elven trees. You can use whatever you want. That does not mean that it is the correct choice. The GM has the final say in what is pertinent and how relevant each skill is in the situation that you're in. Actually, I think you do a really good job of this on Court of Corvids, where you're basically like, oh, well, this is the situation you're in. And we, like, all of us have different, skills that we're proficient in and skills that our characters tend to make use of in problems. And so we'll go around the table and be like, oh, I'm doing this, and give you our roles. And we'll each get completely different pieces of information, or none, depending on what
your
you're
role.
trying to do.
I was like a little like off at first when you were saying that, because I was like, what do I do? Like, I was like,
it was giving us different pieces of information.
Yeah.
And it always like, it's like, oh, yeah,
because
it
makes sense to do that. Like, for example, William's character has warlord, or not warlord, has like a underworld.
Yeah, underworld lore.
Underworld lore. So it's like any information that they go and use that skill for is going to be related to underworld.
Yeah.
Versus, you who have like war tactics.
Warfare lore.
Warfare lore. Okay, why would those two pieces of information be the same thing?
Even if they are, and this is the thing that I think you do well, even if they are the same piece of information, they're through 2 different lenses. Something happened to another character and we were trying to figure out whether it was like a aggressive action or not. Yeah. I was trying to
Spoilers.
And so William understood, like, oh, the environment would be conducive to this sort of attack, whereas, like, warfare lore gave me something like, oh, you see, like, the footprints or something like that, or you see, like, somebody got dragged off in this direction. They are 2 different, one of them is, like, scouting a mark. That's what it felt like with William's knowledge, and mine was very, like, pragmatic. Like, well, that's probably feet being drug off. It makes the game feel like a completely different level of real. Next up, we have Repeat a Spell. This is kind of weird that this is here, but also Detect Magic is here, because couldn't you just use Repeat a Spell for Detect Magic? Unless, and I'm fairly certain this is not the case, Detect Magic is more than 2 actions. I think it is not.
With Repeat a Spell, is it based off of the speed in which you're traveling?
Nope.
But Detect Magic specifically is about speed.
Correct, yeah, that's true. So you're basically repeatedly casting a spell so that if you enter combat, it is ready to use. This is usually a cantrip, but the book specifically says usually, so you can use non-cantrip-y spells you just will immediately run out of spell slots.
Yeah, because you're using the spell slots each time that you're casting it. So unless it's like a very, very, very important spell.
Or like a spell with a duration of an hour.
Sure.
Like I can imagine casting, a whatever level spell that has a very long duration and just being like, if more than an hour passes, I'm casting it again and again until I run out of spell slots. Like we said before, it must cost 2 actions or fewer, and you can also use this activity to maintain a spell, to sustain a spell, the action that allows you to take concentration spells, at a greater and greater duration. It does not get around the maximum time duration of concentrating on a spell, right?
I think I know how you can use this spell. You can use this, and why you would use this in a specific situation where it wasn't a cantrip.
Why?
If you're using like a charm spell, and you're using the charm spell on either a beast or a creature that you're trying to keep calm, or if you're going the opposite direction, you hijacked a cart and you're having the driver drive you to a place and you're using charm over and over again.
That is a good situation for this.
Yeah.
If you go longer than the duration of the spell, though, you still have those effects applied to your character, meaning you lose the spell, you become fatigued. It's instant. That stuff is not avoidable, even regardless of the mode that you're in, right? Don't screw yourself.
Or do it and just understand that there are consequences.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, do it if it makes sense in your situation.
Yeah.
Why the fuck not?
Next, we're going to be talking about Scout, where you go ahead of your group and behind your group. Not sure how you do both at the same time.
This actually gives you magical abilities. You get to clone.
I don't think that's true whatsoever.
It's like a jutsu thing from Naruto.
You just Naruto run the whole time and just sing circles. And you get a +1 circumstance bonus when you basically get into combat, if there's any sort of danger.
to initiative specifically.
Yeah, cool.
I like the idea. I don't understand the in front of and behind the group, because it's like, okay, well, I understand in my brain, right? Like you scout ahead a little bit and then you fall back to make sure you didn't miss anything, and then you scout ahead a little bit. But like something while you are in front of your group can come behind the group. So this is strictly so that the GM can't just invalidate Scout by saying, well, they came from behind and you were in front of them. That feels shitty, right? Next up we have Search. This basically functions the same way as Detect Magic, except for you are not using the Detect Magic spell, you are instead just doing some mundane searching. So same restrictions to 150 feet, same restrictions to 300 feet, you're using Seek. Other than that, it is, the same.
Guess what else you can do during exploration mode? You can sleep.
Yeah.
Sort of. You can sleep, but you can't take any other actions, like while you're sleeping.
Oh, sure.
You're like resting, and if you're traveling, there has to be other people awake. It's not like your whole entire party can just be like, cool, we're down.
Yeah, you can. You can do that.
But that's downtime then, doesn't it? Move into downtime?
No, because it is about the situation that you're in, not what you are doing as a reaction to that situation.
Okay. But I guess the idea is that you've traveled for a day, you set up camp and you go to sleep.
Exactly.
Right? Is that the idea behind it? Not necessarily that you're traveling at the same time.
Well, no, it's definitely, the idea isn't inherently that you're traveling at the same time. I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with that. Like, if you're in a comfortable coach and there's a really good driver and the roads are really cool, professionally maintained and stuff like that, you can be on the coach sleeping in a cot, traveling while sleeping. That's a reasonable thing. It's just, that's not part of it, right? You are correct that you can't take any other actions, but people can do things to you. So people can make you travel by just carrying you along in their little cart, right? So resting is, it said generally 8 hours. I think the minimum, even though it doesn't specifically say that the shortest amount of time that you are allowed to rest is 6 hours, I think that is the case. At least it didn't say it in the resting block. It might say it somewhere else in the book, but I couldn't find it. If you know where it is, page number, comments, thank you very much.
And if I'm correct, those 8 hours, they're not necessarily 8 hours of sleep. You could also be on watch.
I think 6 of the hours have to be sleeping.
Yeah,
Two of the hours don't
I think
have
that
to
that's
be
what it
sleeping.
is. Yeah.
So when you rest,
okay,
you regain health equal to your con mod. There are some other caveats to resting. For example, if you rest in armor, you become fatigued. Now, it doesn't say that you can't rest in armor. So the way I'm understanding it is that you do, in fact, regain health.
Yes.
It's not interrupting your sleep. It's just, it's not good quality sleep. So you do feel tired when you wake up in the morning. Now, the other side of the coin is if you don't rest at all, right? So you can go up to 16 hours without resting with no consequences. If you go past that, you become fatigued. And this is why I think 6 hours is the minimum for resting, because that's what clears the status effect. I wish there was a little bit more depth to it, though. I wish it was like, oh, what happens if it's like 32 hours? That's double. It should do something else. Like maybe if you go 16 more hours, you get another thing of fatigue. And the last thing is that after you rest, you do your daily prep. So all of the things that happen during your daily prep happen at the end of the rest. So that is, you regain your spell slots, you regain your focus points, you regain anything that says you can use this X number of times per day, and you put on your armor and you put on your weapons and all of the things that you need attach themselves to your body. Not magically, you do it with your hands, unless you have magic spells, and then you can do it with
just mage hand everything.
Just mage hand everything. Some people are dicks like that. This is also the time where you're going to be investing magic items. We're going to be doing a specific video on magical items, like some examples of some cool ones and how the investment mechanic works. For now, just suffice it to say that investment is how you make use of magic items, and you get to do that during this period of time.
Now, there are 15 other actions, like skill-specific actions that you can take during this time. We're not gonna go over that now because, one, I'm pretty sure this video is already an hour long.
Yep.
And two, we're going to be going over skills later on, and it only makes sense to go over it once versus
in
twice.
their specific video where it's surrounded by the rest of their, like, it makes sense.
Exactly. Head down to the comments and let us know. I would ask you to tell us what we should do next, except for we've already done downtime and exploration, so really there's only combat.
There's only one option. Yeah.
But go down in the comments like you guys have been doing, and just spamming whatever you want. Hey, it works. Like,
yeah, do it.
Like, go in there and tell us like you like bacon or like vegetarians. No.
Just say that you like bacon.
Just like you can like veggie bacon. We don't want to.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. I do. Well, okay. Never mind. I'm not gonna get. All right, everyone, head down in the comments. Let us know what you liked about the video, how you think we can improve the videos in the future. While you're down there, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon if you really want to see all of our content, and then go over to Twitter and talk to us there. You can talk to me on Twitter at IndigoQT.
And you can talk to me on Twitter at Krug. The dog stopped barking. I just noticed that.
Yeah, that was like halfway through the video.
Yeah. QueueTimes, or you can talk to both of us at all these social media things down here. One of them is Patreon. If you feel so inclined, you can send us money if you have money to send us. If you don't have money to send us, why don't you keep that money? Why don't you use that on yourself?
I would also like to make a special shout out to one of our patrons.
Okay.
Because they went to our Patreon and saw how much money we were getting.
Yep.
And then they changed their donation so that it would be $66.66.
I think it was $66.60.
It was 60 cents, but then they changed it so that it
thanks for that. That's not going to hurt our SEO at all.
Thank you, Caring Lizard, for that. Speaking of other things that we've been going on, honestly, if you're not following us on social media, like not necessarily Indigo or Krug, but the @_QueueTimes Twitter account,
which is also just Indigo and Krug.
Well, no, it's just us on it. But what I mean is that's where we're going to be making a lot of announcements that aren't Indigo or Krug specific. Like, we have a lot of stuff that's coming up right around the corner that we can't talk about yet. Just know that we've got a bunch of stuff going on. We have a ton of stuff going on over on Twitch. We have Geist, which is going on right now, which is phenomenal. We have Long Beach by Night, which has been going on. We've got Call of Cthulhu, which is going on with unreliable narrators. We have Outbreak, Monster of the Week. We've got so much going on. Kids on Bikes.
And our Twitch now actually has people there viewing the streams. Like, there's like an audience, which is like super awesome. Thanks for being there. But the reason I'm saying that is because, like, you could go there and expect to have someone to
chat with. Yeah,
you're like, if you're like, oh, I came in like 30 minutes late, what did I miss? It's not just going to be crickets. I'm really excited about that. That sounded like mean, but I'm not mean.
No. I was more like hanging my head because it's true, and it's like something that you're really excited, like you get excited about, but then you realize how pathetic it is.
Yeah. I'm like
that you were like, I don't know.
Hey, go to our Twitch and I don't know, nothing.
Yeah, go to our Twitch and just like watch us.
But now it's actually
there's a bunch of people that are in there that are talking. We have an official Court of Corvids role-playing channel going
on our Discord.
Yes.
That's not something that's coming up. That's something that is happening right now.
That's going on right now. So what...
who's making the bot? I realized that somebody added a bot to the channel. And I was like, oh my god, this thing better fucking not have admin permissions or I'm gonna flip my fucking shit.
So they have 0 permissions.
Yeah, they have... I saw what the...
I've been working with... so I was actually watching... Lord of the Nines, which is Kitty Mama's husband. He was streaming, and we have had someone in his chat that he knows and that is a programmer.
Oh, nice.
And so I was like, oh, it'd be really fun. We were talking about bots and and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, what would you like it to do? And I was explaining, and then they got really excited about it. And so I was like, okay. And I invited them to a test server that I have. And then they were like, and we were doing stuff, and I gave them admin access because I don't give a shit about that Discord. It's like, okay, delete. If but and they were like, hey, can you bring it over to the normal Discord? Like, you don't need to give it permissions. You don't need to do anything. And I was like, sure. Like, if it worst comes to worst, I just delete it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to worry. But, yes, so we have a Court of Corvids official role-playing. It takes place in the Court of Corvids world in a place that the players have not been yet, which means their actions are going to take effect on the world, and the players that are there and the actions that they take while in that city will take place in the actual game so that if the players ever get there,
they can kill you in the game. You can see on stream Krug punching you so hard that you die.
We don't have any evil people in the group, though.
No, we don't.
So, and then not only that, I've actually joined in and I've been playing as an NPC.
Yeah, I saw that.
Jonas has talked about wanting to join in and play. There's just so much going on. Seriously, join the Discord, join the Twitter.
There's something for everyone.
There's so much going on. Bye, everyone. I've talked way too much.
We've been this group of people. We will do this thing at another time.